know that there's something so special about you and me, babe. So just say the words, cause you know what it means to me, babe.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Babes in Sports podcast. My name is Jamie Hersch.
And Tory Roy. We're two friends navigating being mothers, wives, and successful women in the demanding, male-dominated world of sports.
Yes, and we are at that magic time of year where it's basically all of the sports happening at once, right? We're fully into the NFL season, fully into the college football season. Shout out USC Trojans. Fight on. Let's go. I don't know if we're going to be any good this year, but I can only hope. But then we have baseball postseason, the race to the postseason heating up. Hockey's about to start. I can't believe my first game with the Golden Knights story is Tuesday. This Tuesday, today, when this episode drops. Yes.
No. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I can't wait to hear about that and add that to our podcast discussion, which, by the way, where are you right now?
Well, right now I am on the other side of the country, on your side of the country,
Yeah.
Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where I have been coming regularly. I might as well start renting a room in Fort Lauderdale here because that's how often I've been here this summer calling play-by-play for the National Women's Soccer League.
Dude, that's so cool. How are you feeling about this? Because this is it's not play-by-play so much, but I mean, that is still a newer role for you. And then soccer is a new sport for you in your realm.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, how are you feeling?
Yeah. No, I'm very transparent about the fact that soccer is not a sport I grew up with. Soccer is not a sport I even knew much about at all until a few months ago. And for anyone who may know my history, I've been calling play-by-play in hockey for a few years now. And yes, you said relatively new. So still trying to get better at that in general with a sport that I know and love and have known for over a decade.
So passionate about it.
I got a call in March asking if I would like to try soccer for the NWSL. And I, as I so often do, say yes, because it sounded really great and it sounded like a really fun challenge. But so then I had to learn soccer, honestly, very honestly, just really sat down and watched every soccer game I could, studied, hours and hours of looking up who these women are, what their backgrounds are, what the team's history is. I have never put so much work into such a concentrated amount of time in my life, but it's been so rewarding and so fun. And now we only have a few weeks left of the regular season. So it's been really exciting calling these games. And I just feel really fortunate to have been invited into this soccer world that is thriving, by the way.
Well, and they're lucky to have you. And what an indication, too, of how you took the challenge of play-by-play, a new role, and you just dominated it because you're getting calls to do sports that you really aren't as experienced in. That is such an indication, yes, that you are crushing it. And you just take everything head on. And that's so badass. So.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's also been a really big credit to all the people that I get to work with because like I said, I'm not trying to fool anyone here and act like I know it all. That would be a poor decision. And so I've just been very humble and very teach me everything, tell me anything that I'm saying that's wrong or out of place, or if, because the lingo is such a big part of soccer and the terminology. And so It's a simple game in terms of the rules and the flow, but I just am so thankful to everyone, all my analysts and producers and anyone that has helped me along the way, just learn the sport and start to love the sport. And yeah, I'm feeling really good about it. So that's where we are right now. I've got a big game tonight and tomorrow, and it's tough to be away from the kids. That's the thing that we talk about a lot on this podcast, and it's tougher on my husband to be home alone so many weekends.
I sure, Matt.
Yeah, but that's how I got to meet Jen Hildreth, who we had on the pod recently, and she's just fantastic and such an inspiration to me to try to navigate pursuing a dream that you have while also being mom. So we're doing our best, Tor. What are you working on?
What am I working on? And by the way, if you guys didn't catch Jen's episode last week, please take a listen. She is a legend.
Yes.
We were just soaking in all of the information. I am taking a little breather away from the NFL for a couple of weeks, which is great, honestly, because it's a long season. By the way, second sidebar, when I first started transitioning into NFL work at ESPN, I bought the NFL book for dummies because I had never watched a lick of the National Football League.
Really? I would never have known that.
I know. And I was embarrassed. I was at Barnes & Noble when people still bought books at Barnes & Noble, getting this. I was so embarrassed, but I think I have it somewhere in my highlights and my notes and everything. Cause like you said, it is a complicated game, But now that
Yeah.
I'm like in it, you really, hopefully would have never known because I've been in it for so
Oh,
long.
I
But
would never have known.
thank you. Appreciate that. So yeah, we all have to do what we have to do. And yeah, I was just so involved in tennis and like, you just get self-involved in the things that you're passionate about, but to move
For
on to
sure.
football. Yeah, it feels good to just finally step into a room full of guys and be like, all right, I can hold my own.
Yeah.
I'll be doing a little more storytelling in the next couple weeks with the 50th anniversary of the movie Rocky coming next year. We're
Ooh.
preparing for that. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, I'm working on a documentary that's going to take an angle on how people are still impacted by that movie, myself in particular, 50 years later. Like it's wild, wild. So I'm really excited. I've been going to Philly quite a bit to work on it. And yeah, well, I'll just keep you guys updated on that. But hey, we have been having a blast doing this every week. And thank you all for joining us for the ride. Really, it's been, I don't know. I just feel like we're learning from everyone that we get to talk to, from each other, from you all that have been commenting and reaching out to us. So thanks again. So as I said, learning a ton from our incredible guests. We've had some pretty badass A-list women come on this
Oh my
pod,
gosh.
and including today, we cannot wait for you all to meet her. Let's get into our next guest. Okay, James, let's do it.
Woo, let's do it.
Today, we're thrilled to welcome a trailblazer in every sense of the word. She's a two-time Olympic medalist, a longtime voice of ESPN's Major League Baseball coverage. She's also a mom of 2 boys. She's a friend and someone I look up to on the regular. She's Jessica Mendoza. Welcome, Jess.
What's up, girls?
So wait, where are you right now? Can we just, I need to make sure based on your schedule.
Yeah.
Where are we?
I'm in Pasadena, California. I'm doing Dodgers Phillies. So I'm in the middle of, we're like the back end of the season. Dodgers fighting for the division. Phillies just clinched the NL East. So I'm staying here in Pasadena and I'll head into work here in an hour or so down at Dodger Stadium.
Thank you so much for taking the time in between to just chat with us about mom life and sports life. So I don't want to keep you. We'll just get right into it. You and I, when we first met, one of the things that struck me was how quickly we kind of bonded over growing up as athletes and how deeply that shaped our identities. So since becoming a mom, how has that experience shifted the way you think about your role in sports, either as a former athlete or in broadcasting?
I feel like I was just actually, I had lunch with someone that works with the Dodgers. It's about to literally have a baby in like 3 days, her first child. And we were just talking about that because she helps run the Dodgers, be a working mom for the first time. I feel like the biggest thing is the whole, let them theory, right? That's so big right now. But when you're a mother and you have this perspective of like what's important, I think the things that you get caught up in first as an athlete, like, I mean, I used to just fester over, okay, why did I strike out on that pitch? Or why did this happen? As a working, person, just kind of thinking about even other people and like, why did they respond to me that way? And like just overthinking. And when you're a mom, it's just like, who gives a crap? Like, I am just literally trying to survive my life right now. And I'm going to do everything I possibly can at work, as a mom, as a wife, like all these different things. But I am not going to spend extra time trying to figure out why you just made that comment or why I never got a call back or why I'm not getting this job. It's like I used to fester on these things that now I'm like, you know what? Like, I would love for more things or sit here and think about all this stuff. If I can't control it, like I'm gonna do exactly where my feet are right now. I'm gonna do it exactly the best of my ability and not get caught up in all the other stuff.
Yeah, you said it so perfectly. And it had me thinking about the saying I've heard a lot and I go back to a lot where it's like, be where your feet are, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
can't really be super balanced all the time and be 100% mom and be 100% at work, wherever you are in that moment. I mean, I at least try to just be present. Do you find that that's your mantra as well?
Jamie, exactly. Because you always get the question, right? Like working moms, like, how do you balance it all? And I'm always like, balance. Such a funny question. Like, it's never in balance. It's more of, okay, if I am doing a Dodger game tonight, my son's got football practice, he's got like all these things are going on, right? But if I'm in the second inning thinking about, I wonder if my husband fed the kids and like, just no, like for me to do my job right, I will be exactly where I'm at, but make sure then when I'm home, literally I throw my phone into like a closet. Like, don't bother me. I might miss some calls. I might not be watching a game right now, but I'm going to be hands on, like, whether I'm like a mini Tyrannosaurus Rex and we're wrestling on the ground, or we're talking about why we decided to not do any schoolwork that week, like whatever the topic is, that's where I'm going to be. And it's never in balance. It's never honestly perfect at all. But what I love about it is just making sure that where I'm at is exactly what's getting all of my attention.
And we talked about that so much too, Jamie, is just like giving 100% is all we know. So like, that's what people should know about us at this point, and they shouldn't expect anything less, right? Like if we're home, we are home, fully present at home. If we're at work, we're at work. Like I think all those things work together in that identity of sports and motherhood. That's why I think they go well together. So with your schedule, Jess, like Jamie works baseball, hockey, crazy schedule. I work in football primarily. Like it is a grind. I can't imagine how your schedule was a grind with the kids at a young age. How did you make that work with just kind of how much you had to be gone and how much you were at home?
I mean, it was kind of blending, I was big on bringing them with me, which I don't always recommend to everybody. And even now, like we spend our summers and they're just on the road. Like we were in Boston, we're at Fenway with the boys and, Cincinnati and Tampa. And they know nothing else but travel. I actually homeschooled until they were in fourth grade because I really did want them. And I was still playing too. So I was working full time at ESPN, playing professionally. Like it was just a whole nother, like, I look back, I'm like, what was I thinking? That was just not like smartest decision of my life. But, we made it work. And a big reason why is my husband, who was a civil engineer, quit his job. That was a huge piece. I'm so grateful. We talk about the role reversal. There's so many, women that quit their jobs to be the person that can be the supportive parent. And we don't talk a lot about the other spouse to working moms, whether it's a man that is also working, and figuring it out, or they're taking less to be able to support their wives. That is a huge piece of when we talk about this shift and more moms taking authority of like, I still want to work and be a parent, and that's okay, but also the support team that allows them to do that. And for me, it was definitely my husband. He quit his job. Supposed to be temporary. And then like my career, everything just kind of took off. And we decided, you know what, let's just homeschool the kids and take this show on the road. And that had its ups and downs and sideways moments. But in the beginning, when they were little, we were together. And I think that helped me just kind of with a little bit of the guilt, a lot of the guilt that's associated. And then I was able to then understand, it's actually okay for me to be away from them too. Like it's okay for me to travel and leave them at home, because I could see what that looked like, firsthand when we were on the road together and, they're in the hotel room. I was like, they're fine. Like they actually don't, I'm missing them. And they have that moment of like when you're walking out the door where they're like losing their mind and you're like, oh, like I'm an awful mom. And then my husband would text me like literally 30 seconds later, like with him like eating a sandwich and just like totally cool. It's like they put on these shows for us. So that's something I learned quick.
Yeah, they really do. It's the same thing with daycare, with school, anything. I mean, my son is like a Velcro child where he just wants to be with me as long as possible. And then like the moment I'm gone, it's okay. But in that moment of detaching, it's tears, it's all the drama, and it's really sweet. I know that won't last forever. You have kids who are a little older than mine, so I'm sure you're saying. But either way, yeah, it's a real challenge sometimes to say goodbye. So I guess, you kind of answered that part of my question of like, how did you make it work when they were really little? But now that they're older, like, would you say it's easier or harder to leave to do what you do?
It's way easier. In fact, the hard part is the fact that they don't care. I mean, they care, but they're just like, later, just my oldest has a girlfriend and like his whole world is about, playing water polo and hanging out with his friends. And, even I'm like, hey guys, like it looks like you have a couple days off of school during the World Series. Like, how about you come join Mom at the World Series? And they're like, oh, we'll see. It depends on who's in it. I'm like, what? Like there used to be the day. That's what like Jamie nailed it with like, you miss the Velcro, Mom, don't leave. Like, and that hurts. And that's what makes it hard for us as moms. And now, to be honest, like I just did a girls trip for the first time. I've never, because I'm always gone for work. I've never done a trip without like my husband, which is also like not having kids and like no kids, right? Where it was literally just whatever we wanted to do when we woke up during the day. And that never would have happened when they were little, because I would have felt so bad being away from them that wasn't work. But they get to a point where it's like what you've, now my youngest still misses. He calls me every night before he goes to bed. He calls me. We FaceTime right before the games. He's 12 and he still like misses his mama. He'll still have tears if I'm gone. Like there's stretches when I'm gone a lot. And that still hurts, but now I cherish it because I see my 16-year-old. It's like, oh, you were gone for a week? Like I didn't even notice. I'm like,
right. Oh man.
That's such a good lesson for us, Jamie, because like,
I know.
yeah, it's every day that I'm like, okay, that time too is hard for me. I don't know about you guys, but like they want more hugs and kisses, right?
Yes.
I'm
And to
so
talk.
tired and I just
Yeah.
want to go to bed and I love them so much, but I am out the door. Machine is on, light is off. I'm done. I'm in my room and it's like, Mom, one more hug and kiss.
Yeah.
I can't bring myself to not do it. I just can't.
No, and you shouldn't. That's
Right?
great.
Because it's
That's
like
beautiful.
everyone, that might be the last one, right? I can't
Yeah.
go until they're over me.
I'll tell you what though, Tori, my 16-year-old still asks me to lie with him at night.
Oh,
Right.
So, and I like, I don't know, maybe it's boys too. And he's not like that during the day, clearly. He doesn't even know I'm gone. He's like, later, Mom, I
It is
don't
my
care
voice.
about you at all.
Yeah.
Until he's going to bed. And he's like, Mom, will you come lie with me? Can we talk? And I'm like, I'm like sprinting in there. My husband's always laughing, like, oh my God, like you're like trying not to be so excited right now. Like you're gonna blow your cool. And I'm like, but I'm so excited. He wants to hang out with me. And we will. It's like pitch black dark. And he's just like, so, just talking to me about life and like all the big topics. So I don't know. I feel like it starts to lessen, but the nighttime stuff is so special. Even though I'm with you. I'm a morning person. So at night, like I fall asleep like before my kids do, like in the bed. I'm
Oh,
like,
it's so
and I'm out.
sad, but it's worth it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I'm going to bed right with them, and I can't, I have to pretend not to hear them sometimes. Okay, that's what a cool experience to look like and to those conversations that you had with your sons when they were, our son's age right now, which is 6. And then to have a conversation with them at 16, is that like so amazing or what? Like, I can't even imagine what Braxton is going to be talking about when he's 16.
But you don't want to know.
Fair.
Careful what you wish for. I am so glad, Tori, that it is dark because I'm always like, but I also like and this is just our household. Like I'm a huge believer in like nothing is taboo. Like you can ask mom anything, right? Like I never want to shame them
That's
for.
so cool. Yeah.
So this might be TMI, but like I don't know if it's like this with your 6-year-olds, but especially when they were little, it was like there was never a spot in the house where like it was off limits, right? So if I was going to the bathroom, it was like they find you everywhere. And so one of the things that like I always, even as an example of we could talk about anything, is always like, what are the candy bars that you stick in your pee hole, Mom? And I'm like, oh my God. Like, first of all, not a pee hole, it's a vagina. Secondly, they're not candy bars. I could see where you think that though. Wrapper, definitely, but these are not to open and eat. So yeah, definitely not go in there. And we would talk about like periods and that women go through this and there's blood and all this stuff. And instead of it being weird or gross, they were like, huh. So like, that's crazy. And then like now my son has a girlfriend and he's like, he literally has asked her to let him know when she's on her period. He's like, I know you're going to go through like emotional shift. So if you could just let me know so that way I can be more sensitive about it. And I can't tell you how proud I was of that because I feel like, we talk about everything. There's never been something that's taboo.
That's so cool.
I think that's so beautiful. And I want to say this is so topical because this just happened last week when I was on my period and my 6-year-old son, same thing. Like, and I don't go out of my way to hide it because I'm like you. I'm like, I want to be very open. I don't do, especially because he has a younger sister. And so she's eventually going to go through this too. And I just want this to be a normal dog that we have. But I also don't go out of my way to like overly explain it. So my son's super curious right now. And so he notices there's some trash that has blood on it in the trash can. And he's like, Mommy, what's that? And I said, that's something that Mommy uses. Sometimes girls get what's called their period. And there's blood and it's just something to help Mommy. And he's like, oh, does it hurt? And I said, yeah, kind of. I said, it's kind of like a tummy ache when you have a tummy ache. And he said, oh, so like if you eat too much candy, like that's how it feels. I was like, kind of. And I said, and this will happen to Cadence too. I decided to just go for it at this point. I'm like, this is something that girls deal with when they're a little bit older and then when they're mommies, but it's all good because it means that you can have a baby if you're a woman, if you're a girl. And so I tried to spin it as something very positive. And, you kind of, if you don't make a big deal about it, they don't make a big deal about it. But I had that same thought. And I love your story about your son and how empathetic he is now as a partner for other women in his life.
Yes.
Because that is so huge for, boys too, to normalize periods and not be weirded out and not be like, I'm not going to go to the grocery store to get my girlfriend a tampon or something. Like, no, make this normal.
Well, because it is normal. Like, that's my thing. Like, all of this stuff is absolutely normal. And it's not like I haven't made bad decisions with like, okay, like, we'll do this, or we'll do that. But to let you know that down the road, like this is where it's made me feel so good is that my kids now don't feel like anything is weird. Right.
Mm.
And so the fact that like my oldest son can have this conversation with his girl, like his girlfriend literally came up and thanked me and was like, I like the fact that my boyfriend is asking me so he can be more supportive. She's like, still have school teachers that like, I know that I can get out of anything if I just tell them I'm on my period. And they're like, oh, okay. Like, don't tell me anymore. Like, take the whole day off. You don't even have to do a test. Like, I mean, they're just so like weirded out.
Yeah. That's great work, Jess. Like, again, just making notes, especially with the boys. Like, cause it's so intimidating, but like, no, it shouldn't be, right? Like you have to learn it at some point. So why not learn it from the person that they're closest to?
Well, yeah, they love and they trust.
Well, I don't know how we segue after that, but
Can we just call this episode Candy Bars in the Pee Hole? Like, I just feel like that would be amazing.
done. You get credit for it though.
So I guess my thing with me kind of entering this new phase of my career where I'm traveling a lot more, I do feel that mom guilt heavily. And I feel bad that I'm missing my son's first little league game next week. And, missing out is going to happen, right? This happens to any working mom, no matter if it's sports or whatnot. I was looking at your Instagram and I saw your youngest plays Little League. You mentioned
Yeah.
on there that you had to miss a lot of games because you're working your own baseball games. So how do you deal with that, first of all? And do you try to like spend extra time in other ways or do extra things to almost make up for that?
Jamie, that's such an awesome question. Like, especially like my like spring, like May, especially, and then October, are both like where I'm just not home. And so May, I find since the end of the school year, it's like everything is happening. It's like the end of the year shows and just like Little League, like all of it. I miss it every year, and it's hard, period. Like hard stop, hard. Like there's no like that's not going to be easy or it's not going to be. I was just talking to a girlfriend about this though, and what I have appreciated, especially because my kids are now, getting older, and I look back. First of all, they don't remember like so when they're doing their end of the year show or they're at their fourth Little League game of like 400 they could play or even 30 that they could play, they don't go back and say, God, my mom wasn't at that game against the Padres that, like they just remember like maybe one or two things from the game. Like I remember I high-fived Joey and then like that one kid like beat his pants or like, just whatever. Like there's just these random stories and they don't remember like, yes, like family was there. Some people were there, of course, but they're not like we look back and I remember everything I've missed, everything. And then now that they're older and I've talked to them about it, they're like, you were there? Like, I thought you were there. And I'm like, really? I'm like, I cried for 3 days, like, 'cause I
Wow.
was missing it.
Wow.
And it wasn't because like they, like you don't matter. You totally matter. But
Mm.
for these really big moments, like it's not that their recollection is who was watching me. I mean,
Mm.
you guys know they're so self-centered in like the best way, but it's like it's all about them. Like, what did I do? Did I get a hit? All those things are what matter. So please don't beat yourself up because when they look back on this, your viewpoint, like I said, it's still going to be hard for us because we want to be there, right?
Mhm.
I've learned that the things I'm at, I do. I give it everything. Like I'm coaching or I'm the biggest fan. I'm also appreciating like going to practice. Like most moms
Right.
that I'm around are like, God, another little league, game. To be honest, there's tons
Right.
of little league games and they're really kind of awful sometimes. Like no one can hit. Like it's, and instead I'm
Yep.
just like, oh, I love that no one can hit. And like they're all running the wrong way.
I
Because
can
you're
see
not
that.
there all the time. And so then you actually get to take in these like all of my memories, actually Little League specifically, because we're a big Little League family. They're all these awesome memories, like literally pure awesome memories because I didn't have to be there for everything and the things that I were
Mm.
there for. I took 2 weeks off in June this year. I never take time off and I took it off like vacation. So literally I could follow my son's Little League team. Like that was important to me. It's his last year Little League. He's 12 or he was 11. And I was like, this is our last all-star run. And you know what? Like this is our trip to Hawaii, but we're not going to Hawaii. We're going to like random podunk places in Oregon.
Yes.
And that was our vacation. Was I just wanted to be there for that. So you pick your moments, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really good to know. And we are just entering to the world of Little League right now. Our team actually won the Little League World Series, which you called. So we're
Oh,
Summerlin,
Nevada.
Summerlin South. Yeah.
No way. Oh, this is so
Yeah.
amazing.
So it
Oh my
was
gosh.
really exciting around here, and especially trying to get him excited about joining Little League because he was kind of meh on it. And now he's all about it, and he wants to practice every day after school, and he's
Go,
super
Brooke.
excited. Yes, yeah, Little League World Series does wonders. Yeah. Another one I just had to get you before we wrap things up. I guess just if you step back and you're talking to women who are either coming up or have been in this industry for a little while and trying to make these tough choices, like what would you tell women who are thinking about becoming a parent, but they really aren't sure if they're going to be able to continue this career that they've worked so hard for?
That's Jamie, that is the question that I wish we could literally for every woman, in a certain part of their life, and honestly, every man too, because I think that's changing. I think men are, and maybe I'm projecting this and hoping this is what every man should also be thinking, like, am I ready to have kids? Because, I'm going to be a hands-on parent. Like,
Right.
it's going to change my life. But for every new parent, man or woman is first of all, kids are adaptable. I think the whole idea that like, okay, like I'm going to be working and and I have to do all of the, like, make sure they take their nap at this time and make sure they do all these things perfectly. It's like every family is different. And I just like when we started this show, I've learned that I give so much more to my work in a healthy way because before I had kids, it was like I kind of obsessed with like, am I doing this right? Like I was just so caught up in like all of the other stuff outside of work, like what someone might say or whatever. And now I'm like, work is work and I care a lot about it. And then home life just gives me that joy that allows me to enjoy work that much more. So I always tell new parents, like, first of all, kids are adaptable because I think the biggest fear is like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to, it's like, you know what? Like you
Yeah,
figure it out.
So true. It's so true. Yeah. And I think that goes beyond the sports industry, the sports broadcasting industry. I think you could say that for anything, but for us, especially, it's just sports makes it feel 10 times heavier, right? Because of the schedules and the pressure. But I feel the same. Like I can actually chill out a little bit with my work and not be so obsessive about it because, yeah, your priorities change. So it's such a beautiful way to put it. Okay, I'm going to get us into my mom-barrassing moment. Jess, I'll let you pick after that which one, if you want a mansplain moment or mom-barrassing, totally up to you. But on Friday, I picked up my daughter, Sydney, from pre-K and, just on the way to her pre-K is Wine Dads. Jamie knows it. She used to live in Hoboken, New Jersey, where I am. It's on the way. It's Friday. So I'm like,
It's begging you to come inside.
Yeah, but it's just me and Sid and, her scooter and her backpack, and I get the wine and the guy's like, bag? And I was like, I don't have a bag. Here you go. Zip. 3-year-old backpack. Just gotta put it in there, right?
That's amazing.
I know it's judging me. And dude, the guy checked me out. He goes, you should have a podcast about this. And I was like, I'm man.
As a matter of fact.
So no judgment zone. I just didn't want to buy a bag.
I think that's totally fair.
You're saving on plastic and the environment. I think this is a brilliant decision.
Thank
and
you.
a beautiful mom moment.
Do you know how many random toys and chewed gum and old candy and goldfish that I have in my purse? Because that's my purse, but it's their crap.
My stuff. Much
better. Okay, my mom-barrassing moment. We went to Disneyland last weekend. Super awesome. Recommend to anyone. Love it. And especially at this age, because I have a daughter who's 4 and is obsessed with princesses, right? So we're super stoked to do all the princess things, bibbidi bobbidi boutique, you name it. But she, of course, wants to meet the princesses. So we went the first day, we went for 2 days, right? First day, we're like, we're going to meet the princesses right after she does her bibbidi bobbidi boutique. So she's going to have her hair done, her dress, everything's going to be perfect for pictures with the princesses. We get in line. It's probably about 45 minutes to an hour just to meet the princesses. It's hot. It's, around nap time, but she, of course, has not napped. So she's a little irritable and she starts to lose it along the way. So I'd say we finally make it maybe like 3-4 people in front of us. So we're really close to meeting these princesses and she starts acting nasty. And I have a thing with my kids where I give them a warning before I take anything away, right? I say, if you don't calm down, this is going to happen, right? But I learned real quick, come up with a consequence that I am also okay with. Because in the moment, I just wanted her to slow down, right? I was like, slow down. You need to stop. And then she starts hitting, which, is a no-no.
Yeah.
So I say, if you hit me one more time, Cadence, we are leaving. We are not meeting the princesses. And she can't help herself, hits me one more time. And I'm like, crap.
Yeah.
Now I'm screwed because I really don't want to leave. But if I don't leave, then that is a lesson that I don't want to teach her. And I know this. So I pick her up and just with all of everything inside me boiling, I walk out of the line and we leave, and she's screaming and she ended up falling asleep, took a nap in the stroller. But I learned
Good for you.
that, yeah, except then we had to go back the next day, right? I said, we'll try again tomorrow. And we did. And the line was longer because it was a Saturday this time. And so we ended up having to do the line twice because I was trying to stick to my guns, and I did.
But that's why I'm saying good for you.
I
Like,
know.
I've never heard the story end that way. It's always like, and then we stayed in the line because they called your bluff.
No, that's what I'm saying though, is she didn't call my bluff. I stuck true to my word, but I really did. I was not happy with myself for making that the consequence. There could have been any other consequence, like no treats after this or anything that I would have been okay with. But I was like, I can't believe I made that the consequence. And now I have to follow through on this.
Oh my gosh. I love that though. But it's also like the immediate, like that is the consequence, right? Like I'm in this line for you and like you're hitting me. Like we're going to leave the line, like remove, like, because that's what's hard about like, and you won't get a treat later or like you don't get like, I've always taken away electronics. Like you can't have electronics this weekend or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's like later in their brain. They're like,
That's
great.
true. Well, hopefully she learned. We'll see if it actually worked. I don't know.
Well, I'm proud of you because I think I've done it too often where I've done the opposite where I'm like, fine, we'll just leave. And then they do it and I'm like, dang it. Like, okay, we'll stay. But next time I'm like, I did nothing. Like hollow threats, right? That they read right through.
Yeah. That's mine. I don't know. We'll see if she learned the lesson. But do you have your mom-barrassing moment, Jess?
Yes. Well, this one, I just told it recently because I had forgotten about it. And then my son reminded me. So when my son was like my youngest was like in third grade, I went and spoke to like the whole elementary school. So I don't know, like 300-400 kids. And it was an Olympic year. So they had me bring the medals and just like talk about the Olympics. And I had this like photo album that my husband had made me. So it was like a perfect, like kids are little and like they get to touch the medals and this whole Olympic thing. Sometime in the Olympics and experience, they're asking questions. And like, I get to kind of the end, I'm like, questions and like, some other questions. Then my son raises his hand and I'm like, oh, great, Caden. And he's like, when are you going to tell him your line? And I'm like, what? And he's like, Olympics. And I'm like, no, I didn't. This is, mind you, 350 kids and teacher, you could hear a pin drop. They're like, what? And he's like, Mom, you never, and he's looking around like, she's kidding. Like, is this the joke? She just made this up. Like, it's story time, right, Mom? But you didn't play in the Olympics. And I'm like, no, I did. And he's like, but you've never talked. And then I like, in my head, I'm like, I've never brought the medals out. I've never talked to my own children about
Wow.
And of course, right, you guys know this. Kids do not see you as anything but mom, right? Like it doesn't matter. Like both involved in television, kick-ass jobs. You guys are doing like literally the coolest things you could possibly do, but you're just mom. I'm going to slap you in the Disneyland line. That's all I see, right? And so in his mind, he's like, Mom, you didn't play. And so we're having an argument. And he's not close to the front. So I'm like yelling across. And it's like literally like people are like clearing their throats. And so now I'm having to explain to all of these families like, no, I really did. My own son, I know he's questioning me, but I promise, like Google, like something like oh my gosh. And so I'm like, okay, we'll talk about it later. But like, yes, these are real medals. Mom played in the Olympics. Promise you. Okay, moving on. Like, next question.
Gosh, that is incredible.
But literally he started with like, Mom, you're a liar. It was this like hard stop. Hey, this lady up there, she lying to all you guys. She didn't play in the Olympics.
Kids, man.
I mean, that is dyslexia.
Yeah. So explain to your kids all the cool stuff you've done so they don't embarrass you.
Jess.
We're so grateful that you were here with us today. You can catch her on ESPN's baseball coverage and as part of the Los Angeles Dodgers broadcast team. She is the best. She is Jessica Mendoza. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. This was so much fun. This is like healing. I feel like everyone, I hope people listening, especially, all the themes that we covered in this one. It was awesome. Thank you.
For us. Oh my gosh. Same for us. Thank you for all the love and support out there, babes. We have so many more exciting things to come on the Babes in Sports podcast. So please keep following along, like us, download us, follow us on Instagram, Babes in Sports podcast. And hey, if no one has told you this today, take it from us. You are crushing it. Have a great week, guys.